Hello again, this is Mike Downing of Bearpop Comics and also the producer of the Kickback Lounge. The music that you hear underneath of this video will be provided by the Kickback Lounge, where we focus on chill hop, EDM, lo-fi, and hip-hop instrumentals. If you're ever interested in any music, contact me. I will leave a link in the description for both Bearpop Comics and the Kickback Lounge. Remember, with Bearpop Comics, anything you see can be purchased. Even if I don't put it up right away, if I'm showing it to you, it's going on the site. So let me know if you're interested in it, and I will set it aside, and we can make sure that you get the books that you're looking at. So the logo in the background is my logo, one of the logos that I have. The lady in the middle is a character that I created. I'm sorry, there seems to be a little glare here. I want to make sure we get that off of here at any rate, so we don't have any problems. Okay, so at any point, as I was stating, the lady in the background is one of the characters that will be featured in Bearpop Comics. And with me being an indie, it's only right that I would speak about other indie comics. So I want to just say this: indies don't get enough love sometimes. They're very good books. Sometimes I find myself breaking away from the big two, the Marvel and DC. Image is becoming big too, but they still have the indie type feel to them. So I still like to support Image because Image has very good books. Hold on 1 minute. I'm going to take that glare out in the background because it is annoying me, and I want you guys to get the full visual of what is going on in here. So just a little bit of extra light that we don't need. That takes care of that. So, as I was saying, the indies don't get enough love. And this was one company that I really liked quite a bit. And this was Valiant Comics. But before we get into Valiant, I want to show you guys something. If you're familiar with the video games, I'll hold these up. By Blizzard Entertainment, Overwatch. They had a book that they put out that's upstairs in my graphic novel section, that it was The Art of Overwatch, which was great. These particular books, I picked these up. I actually got them at Ollie's, but I don't think you can find them anymore. They are short books, and they're based on characters from the video game, and they come with an official keychain. I'm going to probably post them on eBay, but if anybody's interested, let me know in the description. What you're going to see today is things that will be posted within near the end of this month to next month. So just kind of walking you through it. So this is one of them here. I'm going to set that aside so you can see it. I'll just keep that up there. I have to cover that little miniature of a Batman. And I have two more in this stack. I actually read this book. I had an extra copy, which I believe I sold that one. But this was a nice little story. It didn't have a whole lot of wording because the focus was on you getting into the video games. So I'm trying to look at these characters. The one over there was, forgive me if I say this wrong, Tor Bajoran. That was the guy over here in this corner. This guy was called McCree. I don't know a lot about the video games because I don't play a lot of video games at all, unless I'm over working with some youth or something like that. But these are characters from the games, if anybody's familiar with that. And we have another one over here, which is Reinhard. And of course you see the official keychains in there. Now these have not been opened. So if anybody wants to get these, most likely the price that you see on there, the $5, that's probably what I'm going to put them out as. I will discuss that price because it's on here to move them right along, unless there's been a major jump in the prices. But I will post them on the site, and if you guys are interested, it would be great. I have to ship these a little different because, as you see with the character, the keychain, makes the package a little bulky. But if anybody's interested, but that would go in the line of what I'm talking about as far as independent comic books. A lot of them don't get the attention that they should have. There are a lot of good stories. So brings me to this one, The Second Life of Dr. Mirage. And I believe this character was revamped by Valiant. And he might have been around a long time, but they redid it, But it was it's an interesting book. I liked it. I probably will buy the graphic novel. And we have number 2 that I just showed you, number 1. These will be posted on the eBay site if anybody's interested. So I'm focusing on the indies today. So these will be posted on the site within, if not the end of this month, at least by April, early April. I have number 3 of Dr. Mirage and number 4. I probably have more somewhere around here, but I have to really dig for them because I bought this whole set from another dealer, John the Comic Guy, and I'll leave a link for him eventually, so you guys could, if you're in the South Jersey area, you might want to drop by his spot because he sells a lot of stuff too. And I bought a whole collection from him for a dirt cheap price of the indies because I happen to like them. So when he had them, he thought of me. He said, hey, I know you like this kind of stuff. So which brings me to another Valiant title. Let's get it out this package. All right. Secret Weapons, number 1. And this was a lot of their top heroes. This was Solar, Man of the Atom. This was a big villain of theirs, Eclipse. He was one of my favorite and still is, Bloodshot. And he did a movie, Vin Diesel actually played him. Fortunately, it came out right during the pandemic. So the movie had to go, I believe it was on HBO Max or one of those guys for free. Because when the pandemic broke out, nobody was going to the theaters. So I don't think his character got the proper justice. This is Exo Man of War. And that's Shadow Man. And I believe some of the other characters are from a team called Hard Corps, which was a part of the Bloodshot series. So that's one book there. That was number 1. And I had number 2 of the Valiant series, the Secret Weapon. And I believe I have 3 and 4. Yes, 3 and number 4. So these were the first run that came out in the 90s. Now, mind you, I'm a big 70s guy, but some books that came out in the 90s were all right. I will give them, they were okay. I'm not going to talk totally against the 90s. They did have a lot of flash and stuff at one point, but they had some good content in a lot of their books. So I'm going to put that over here. This was another set from another book from Valiant called Harbinger. This actually did pretty well. But for some reason, it just, with some of the problems that was going on internally with Valiant, their books never really got to see the light of day in a major way. People knew about them, but they didn't know about them enough to really get into their content. Jim Shooter, who used to be the editor at Marvel Comics, had a lot to do with Valiant Comics. We have another series Archer and Armstrong. And out of all of them, you know, they were good. They weren't my top, but they were good. But this one here, this was a property that I'm getting ready to pull out that actually came from an older comic book that they got the license for. And this was Magnus Robot Fighter. And I have a lot more of these. Locating them in all that boxes, I'm going to have to organize it before I put it online. But as I'm speaking, if anybody's watching this and you are a Valiant fan, these books will be available to you. And Valiant fans are, you know, hard to come by because a lot of people don't know about these books. That's why I thought it would be good to just show you some of the stuff that Valiant puts out. And they've recently relaunched their whole line, so they're out currently now in comic book stores. They just did a revamp of all their characters. So here we have Valiant Comics with Magus the Robot Fighter and Nexus, which is from another independent company called Dark Horse. And these were two characters that were older that they relicensed. And I like the classic retro cover. So they had good stuff. And the stories were good. The ones that I did read, they were very interesting. So we're going to go to a little bit more of Valiant, and this is one of my, other than Bloodshot, this is one of my favorite characters coming up here. Well, I tell you what I'll do. I'll finish out the Magnus Robot Fighter run before I go to getting into my favorites. So we have Magnus Robot Fighter number 21. When I get these together, I'm going to be posting them as one lot. So if anybody's interested, you're not going to just buy one issue. You're going to buy a whole lot of those, you know, for probably the prices that will be somewhere under $20. I'm not quite sure yet, but it'll be something affordable and it will be negotiable with the price if you just want to catch up on reading these or just see what they are. And here's another Magnus Robot Fighter here. Yeah, I like the art on the cover, and I got to read some of his stories. They were pretty good. You know, he's a good character. He's a good character. Sometimes you need a change from the average stuff that you always see all the time. We have another Magnus Robot Fighter for this lot right here. This is number 39. 39. So you guys see these covers, you're interested, and you start asking me questions. I'll make sure that you get them as soon as possible because I get a lot of books and I have to organize them and set them up on eBay, which, you know, is a task, you know, but something I love to do because I wouldn't be sitting here making videos doing this. I like music and I get into that even more, but I have a love for comic books. So before we get past with that and get to one of my favorite characters that I like, we have more Archer and Armstrong. And this book was more like they were action, kind of with a mix of comedy. There's Shadow Man, that was a big character from Valiant, and that this guy back here, he was one of their main villains. His name escapes me. And we have another issue of Archer and Armstrong, number 11. And this has Solar Man and the Atom starring in this one. And he was pretty popular also. And I have number 15 of Archer and Armstrong. And I probably have more. So if anybody's out there that's familiar with Valiant characters, and you see this one, wow, I was looking for it, you know, let me know because it's going to be available. For 1 minute, I have to get a little sip because I'm parched. Because we don't want to take a cough break like I did in the last video. So, We see those. Now we're getting into one of my favorite Valiant characters. It's this guy in Bloodshot. So here it is, Exo Man of War. So if you watched episode 3, I have a book where him and Iron Man actually teamed up. And that was a rare book. But this is Exo Man of War number 45. And this is what I actually want to read. It got a little dog. We call this a dog ear. When you see this at the bottom, for those who collect comics, I hate when they get in there. Because, you know, it just, you don't want that on there. And whatever I have them, I kind of take off for the sale because people like the comics in good condition. Yeah, but I thought this cover was real interesting. And what I'm showing you is a lot of mini. There's a whole box of indies. So it's, when I show you Marvel and DC, I got a lot of indie books, you know, which includes Image. And we have Exo Man of War number 25. I like the cover, you know. As I told you, indie books are a new thing with me because it's just a different continuity. We also have Exo Man of War number 26. This particular guy up in the front, I believe his name is Harada. He was a big, villain in the book. He was kind of like Kingpin, but only a rich, corrupt businessman, like a combination of Kingpin and Norman Osborn. Which was cool. And he had some, if this is the correct character, which I believe it is, he had a strong power of like mind control and ESP and those type of things. So, in this issue, he's probably going to be taking over Exo Man of War. It looks like he has one of his gauntlets. Alright, and we have Exo Man of War number 21. The numbers are going to try to jump around a little bit because I don't have them in a particular order. And I love this cover here. This is a female version of him. And I just thought the cover was interesting. The red, how it pops out in the background, and her silver armor. And, you see certain areas of the flesh before it gets too naughty, they cover her up. It's cool. And we have a Exo Man of War number 15, and it looks like this character is Turok the Dinosaur Hunter. I'm pretty sure, because they do a team up, and that's another old character from the 50s that Valiant picked up the licensing on. And then we have Exo Man of War number 14. So yeah, that's Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, and he became a Valiant character. So teaming them two up, it's a big deal in Valiant. And I have some more stuff to show you. I got to step over to the side and get some of the other things. So give me a second. I'm just going to grab a little bit out this box. Because we still got some time. To put this stuff up here. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. My other favorite Valiant character, which would be my man's, let me get him out, Bloodshot. To me, Bloodshot was like a combination of Captain America, Wolverine, and the Punisher all in one. So he has, by this special force and military science, he has nanobites in his blood. So if he's shot, killed, or blown up, whatever, his body instantly repairs itself, and he comes back at you with a vengeance. It's like an unstoppable soldier. That's what I liked about it. If you saw the movie is probably on Tubi, Netflix. You can get it around now for free. But if you pull up the movie and Vin Diesel paid the part, It's a real interesting movie. It just didn't get its shine because of COVID. And if it had came out and COVID didn't hit and put everybody on the lockdown when that happened, I believe this character and Valiant characters would have got a little bit more steam. All right, and we have, boy, it's so hard to get it out the package. It's so tight. Bloodshot Salvation, #1. So they had different stories starting up of him, with different things that were going on. So, and there's tons more Bloodshot in there. I'm not going to show them all in this video, because what I'm trying to do is to dedicate one video to Valiant and other indie books, because I think people need to know about indie books. So, if you hear and you see that stuff, if you get interested, I will be posting them on the Bearpop site. There are some up there now. And one character I can think of offhand is called The Visitor, which is another Valiant property, and that's a great book. Let's take that out. So we'll switch from Bloodshot a little bit, because I don't have any more in this pack, but they're in the box, but I'm not going to go with that. But this is a Valiant character here, Savage. I just ran into this. I can't even begin to tell you what it's about, but the cover looked great. I like the cardstock finish on it. So, I thought it was a good buy to me. Came in and just checked it out. And not to throw everybody for a loop, because it's really Valiant Day. But soon, as I collect more, I'll be throwing out another indie book, which is by Source Point Press, and it's called The Oblivion Trails. And I have #1 or part 1 of this, and part 2. So I want to say this to everybody that's probably watching and saying, "Oh man, this is cool, but with it Marvel and DC, pay attention to these indie comic books, because we have Netflix, and you never really know if one of them are going to get a storyline or a movie, basically, not a storyline, I'm sorry, a movie in Netflix, because I'll tell you about one that did. If you go on Netflix and look up a movie, an action movie called The Old Guard, I believe that came from Image Comics. The Walking Dead came from Image Comics. So you'll see movies like this pop up, and you see these books and you don't think they mean that much. Well, I'll share something with you. When The Walking Dead actually came out, I looked at the first issue and I was like, I was a very Marvel type person, a little bit of DC, a little bit of Image, and I'd seen it. I said, I don't want that. It looks, I don't want no horror book. And #1 might have been about $3 at the time, $3.99 maybe. And now, it might have dropped, but when the show came out, those books is going up. It's close to like $200-300 and more. So when you see indie books, I would say collect them, because places like Netflix look for those independent properties to do something different, and the licensing may be cheaper than the big two, which is Marvel and DC. So keep an eye on indie books. If you see them offered here, think about it before you pass them up. So this would end my first segment of the indie book collection. So I'll be doing that every week or so. I haven't got a set schedule yet, but I'll be covering indie books as well as Marvel and DC.